benefit. Okay, thank you. So I want to
Thank you for that.
welcome all of you, and especially our guest speaker, person who is going to share experience. Paul Nyende is a familiar person to some of us. We've been working together for some time and networking. So we welcome you, Paul, to this forum to share experience with the East Africa Field School fraternity. This is your team, and I know you will definitely find some of them who are very familiar to you. So today we are privileged to have this. I also want to welcome everybody for the continued uh, and the consistent participation in these webinars, these Zoom meetings on Wednesdays. They are building our experience and also the network. As I mentioned last time, again, I think for East Africa, we need to do more because all the regions look upon us to share this experience that we've gained for at least more than a year now. And we hope we can have more people come on board to share their experience. Having said this, I wish therefore to welcome Paul to start the presentation, and the rest of the interactions, Edwin, you'll manage them. So we will, myself and Jane, we shall sign off the videos so that we give a lot of space to Paul to be visible. If he wants to put his video on, that would be great. If the internet is not enabling that, still okay, you can proceed. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Max. We'll just request Paul, so that we are sure we are not being presented to by a robot. Maybe we can just put on his video for 1 minute. He says his names and a few things while I load his presentation. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Edwin.
Put your video on.
My pleasure to be here. Share video. Okay.
Yes. No, don't share the screen. Just put your video on. Stop the screen share.
Okay.
Just stop the share and just your video only so that we can see your face. Then I will share the screen from my side.
Okay, is that fine?
We are still yet to see your video.
That?
Amazingly, for me, I'm seeing just darkness. Okay, are other people seeing Paul? Okay, maybe it's because of the low internet connectivity. Just disconnect your video and then I start with sharing the presentation. And for the rest of the members, kindly let us switch off our microphones. Techno, come on, and a few other people. We just mute. Okay. So I think Mr. Nyende, just proceed. This is your presentation. Hope you can see it from your side. Can you see it?
Yes.
Hello?
The video has not come. Yes, I can see.
Good. So you'll just be telling me next.
Yes, I can see.
Then I proceed. So
are you able to see the face now?
No, wow.
Wonder why you can't see my
no, just proceed, and maybe during question and answer we should be able to see your face.
Okay, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to join this meeting after a long time. My name is Paul Nyende. The last time I interacted with some of you, I think I was very actively involved in farmer field school at the forefront of training as a master trainer and also implementing some projects with the FAO and the government of Uganda. It's been a while since I've been actively at the front of EAFFS, but I've been active in a different way, where I chose another route to go into private sector and to do business. What prompted me or challenged me into taking a decision was around what we were doing, the change. As a farmer field school, we advocate for change to see how things happen in the perspective of the farmers. So after doing a lot of trainings, I chose to start a business along supporting farmers access market, improve farmers' knowledge on how to apply the concepts of farm field school and technology. But then the challenge of markets came in. Where do I sell after realizing my good production, my yields? So that became a real challenge, and I saw an opportunity there. So with the support and mentorship of other colleagues, senior people, we started AgriNet Uganda Limited as a company. So I want to share my story around the farmer field school, how far we have come with the farmer field school, what AgriNet operations are, and what key lessons we have learned along the way with farmer field school. Okay. Yes. So as a graduate of agriculture, I trained as a master trainer in farmer field school. We were trained by FAO, I think around the James, the likes of James, of Koth, Edwin, I think we were there. I can't remember who else was there. And during that early stages, we developed training materials. I co-authored some of the training materials through different write shops and documentaries. Specifically, one specific documentary we still have is around land management, soil and land management. We piloted a number of projects in Uganda, and also introduced the concept of farm business school on market access, because this was one of my interests as far as business was concerned. I'm also a founder of AgriNet Uganda Limited, a company that is built on farmer field school foundation and concepts. So in all what we do, there are elements of farmer field school that we've been practicing in real life, that we've been adopting. So I was talking about AgriNet. AgriNet is a company, a limited liability company, an agro-processor that supports farmers in Eastern Uganda to produce and access markets through farmer field school and farm business approach. The two, as we know,
Sorry, are the other people hearing? I seem to have lost Paul.
I also lost Paul, I think.
Wow, okay.
He's off.
Wow. Opio, since you're a business partner, can you continue reading the screen until he gets back?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So the title is AgriNet is an agro-processor that supports smallholder farmers in Eastern Uganda to produce and access markets through field schools and farm business school approach. Now the business summary. AgriNet is an agro-processor largely involved in production of branded maize flour, rice, and animal feeds for sale, currently located in Toro. AgriNet was incorporated in 2008 as a market information provider, involved in 2014 to support the value chain from farmer production to sales and distribution. Are you getting me? Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, but you are dragging a little bit, but you are clear now.
Okay, thank you.
Proceed.
AgriNet uses the field school and farm business school model to reach out to farmers. Business has a working relationship with 20,000 farmers and directly sources raw materials. Now, the company also faces some problems. Among them include one, it works to empower smallholder farmers, particularly in Eastern Uganda, to earn income and achieve financial independence through the field school.
I'm back.
Okay, Paul. Yes, Paul.
Proceed. John Paul was trying to fit into your big shoes.
Can I proceed, or let me hand over to Paul? Paul is back. Are you getting?
No. Let Paul proceed now. We are on the problem the company is addressing and its importance. So proceed, Mr. Nyende.
He's off, I think, again.
Wow.
Let me call him on phone and find out. Just a minute.
I think, Max, now in the future, that people are developing audio solutions for conferencing. You don't have to see the face, you just hear the voice. You should now consider it for our field school community, particularly the farmers. Those ones without smartphones, without data, you can just dial in and you listen to a talk for 30 minutes, 1 hour, ask questions, and then proceed.
I suggested that JP basically talks about agreement naturally without even, because JP has been involved.
Without?
Hello?
Okay.
Paul,
Paul is back.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes,
Tororo
I'm
should
back.
be
he's on and off.
Tororo should be
Okay,
good in internet because he's at the border. Okay. I'm joking. Okay, Paul, proceed. From the problem statement that JP tried to deal with the summary, we have got that. So from the problem company, yeah.
That's not correct.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, proceed, Paul, Mr. Nyende.
Yes, yeah. We are trying to address some challenges for the field schools. Yes. So some of the challenges that we're trying to address are to do with markets. Farmers need a market, reliable market for their produce when they harvest. This is very critical, and it's the gist of our business, at the center of our business. And the other challenge they are having is that the farmers need access to inputs and technologies. The right technologies and reliable technologies. And then also the other challenge is to do with training that they need, the extension service that they need to.
Wow.
Paul is again lost.
I think maybe John P, let's just run through the slides. We'll do the question and answer with him.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Please.
Can I
Because some
continue
people
again?
have other engagements. Yeah, we wanted by 11:15 to be through.
Okay, so I proceed where Paul
Get to
stopped.
the FFS and the FBS approach.
Okay. So bullet one reads, expand and strengthen farmer network and relationships to increase sourcing quantities and overall production. Number two, adapt and refine the field school extension approach technologies to fit business needs. And learning by doing approach along the value chains with a focus on technology and market access. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now, some model is being shared here. It reads, business model evolved from offering agricultural market information to focus on farmer support and value addition. In 2008, the business was incorporated to provide agricultural market information services and value chain consulting services. However, business growth was hindered by low volume of sales and irregular revenues. And Agrinet opted to diversify business to include market brokerage and adding primary value to produce bought from farmers after cleaning and drying. In 2014, Agrinet worked with her existing market info and agents to profile and train and develop farmer groups. Farmers are offered extension support services, particularly agronomy and post-harvest handling training, and supported to access high-quality seeds and other inputs. Agronet also set up a 500 metric ton warehouse and a processing facility in Tororo, with a focus on processing maize, flour, rice, and animal feeds. Today, Agronet has a team of 20 staff, both full-time and part-time, and are looking to diversify products to include soybean cake and oil. Currently, scaling down market information and consulting services to focus on value addition and farmer support. It mainly supports and sources raw materials from 1,800 farmers in Eastern Uganda. Raw material supply is supplemented by farmers in North and Western regions. Next slide. Next slide, please. Agronet processes produce sourced from small-scale farmers and distributes finished branded products to supermarkets in rural and urban areas. As you can see the model there, number one indicates farmer support and raw material sourcing. And then from there it's processed. After processing, there is sales and distribution. Next. Key lessons learned. Continuous learning across the entire value chain through the field schools and farm business schools. There's also networking through networks. And finally, sustainable businesses are seen field school, farm business school, through production, produce aggregation, and input marketing. Next. I think we'll come to an end.
That is the end of the presentation.
Okay.
Pardon?
That's where it ends.
Yes. So Paul, are you back? Maybe now I will just want people to ask questions.
Yes, I'm back. I think I've resorted to my phone, to use the phone instead of the laptop, because the laptop internet is breaking up frequently.
Okay, good. So members, the procedure now is you raise your hand or you put a question in the chat box. But we want to thank you, Paul. Despite the technological challenges, we've been able to go through the presentation. And most of us here in this meeting are having this challenge of what next after FFS. We cannot stop at just meeting, doing experimentation and trials, group dynamics. What else to these communities? What else to these beneficiaries? And that's exactly what you wanted to learn from you. So members, feel free to raise your hand. I'll give you the opportunity. And if you're technologically challenged, please put it in the chat box. Who goes first? And remember to unmute yourself and then before raising your question. So while they're getting ready, Mr. Nyende, kindly just outline the process of how you've managed to involve the FFS groups, particularly the ones you are managing or training in Soroti and Tororo, to get to this level of now becoming contracted clients to your company?
Okay, thank you, Edwin. This has been a journey of developing relationships. I think one of the things that farmers want, or anybody in business want, is a relationship that can be trusted, that is long-term, and having been one of their trainers, their facilitators, their experts, we developed a relationship where we could feel free with each other to engage into business. They would believe my messages, they would believe what we do. So when we started Agrinet as a company, that will provide those key strategic constraints, address the key strategic constraints of market, of increasing production, and providing reliable information, extension messages to them. That was the starting point. I wasn't foreign to them, but I was somebody that we had worked with. So that set a background and gave us mileage as far as building relationship was concerned. And then the other thing that we saw was that there was a lot of learning. Learning never ends in the farmer field school. So a lot of learning, if you introduce a technology, maybe a thresher, maybe a post-harvest handling technology, you must demonstrate that it works. You must believe in it yourself, but also deliver it. So in believing it, you must invest money in it. Then when you start investing money into it, that technology, it means you are starting to go the road of business. And that marked the real farm business schools that we were trying to do at the FFS level. So taking the concept beyond just learning and the practicals and demonstrations and experiments, are you able to invest into that technology after you've learned? So as a business, we invested in those technologies. And they said, farmers, we want you to give us quality grain. And we've learned that we can achieve quality grain when you have a thresher, when you have a cleaner, when you have the tarpaulins and other technologies. And then the farmers bought into them. So they started giving us what we want. And they also started adopting and buying some of those technologies on themselves. So in our farm business schools, which is the second step to us from the farmer field school, we have real businesses around aggregation points. We have real businesses around inputs for seed, for fertilizer, for herbicides and other technologies that we use in our that the farmers need. So that was the road that we took. That was the path that we took as far as actualizing, transiting from just experiments, demonstrations to business. We demonstrated that we can invest together with the farmers in those technologies and go beyond the learning, but go to the level of making money.
Well, thank you so much. This great, but we also needed to know on this market information. What information do these farmers want? How are you able to avail it to them? And how are you able to handle competition, given the fact that you are on the border and...
Yeah, the basic information that the farmers need are basically
We're
where
always
do I
having
sell?
other people coming with quick cash, waiting for contracts and this and that.
Yes, as you saw from one of my slides, our businesses has been evolving. I think from 2008 to 2014, we've had a large component of market information as a service provider, one of the leading service providers in market information in Uganda. In doing that, we were basically providing farmers with information on where to sell. If I had my grain to sell, maize or beans, or where do I sell? Who is the buyer? What price is on the market? And what are the buyer terms and conditions? So we do package the message into an SMS. A message, for example, price of maize in Kampala, in Soroti, in Gulu is X, and that will go as a message, go out as a message to subscribers, including those farmer groups. Or we'll send out an alert, which we call the trade alert, notifying that is a buyer X who wants X quantities of grain and is in this location. So that also goes out as a message. So when farmers receive these messages and they know they're authentic, they are real, they can check with us. They either call back to clarify if certain things are not clear, or they engage with those messages or contacts that we have put on the message. So in terms of where to sell, who is the buyer, what price, we dealt with that kind of information gap. And regarding the information, at that time we were not the monopoly in the monopoly of buying and buying all the grain. We know that there are other buyers even bigger than Agrinet, and Agrinet was not even buying all the products that the farmers want. Farmers are producing. They are producing groundnuts, they are producing sunflower, they are producing maize. So we're dealing with a range of commodities, and we're using our networks to collect this intelligence that we share. So for the specific commodities, that is maize, rice and soybean that we buy, of course, we contracted the farmers. We give them a price, a contract with a price and the quantity and the terms. And then this is basically a forward contract with a minimum price at which we buy. So that minimum price gave farmers confidence and trust that Agrinet will be there to buy from us at a minimum price X. And if the prices change because of competition, then we go back to the drawing board and have a negotiation. So that's how we are able to deal with the competition. We are not a monopoly we are not in the monopoly of buying produce from the farmer, and therefore giving them fixed prices. So they were free to sell to anybody else as from the information we are giving them. Yes, Edwin?
Thank you so much for that response. And without really dominating this discussion, I'm saying we also have some post-harvest handling technology specialists in our midst. I want them to respond. So Mr. Mengesha, you can prepare yourself. But I wanted to ask this one more question, Mr. Nyende. How do you handle complaints from the buyers that the people or the group you linked me to provided me with substandard grains, or their aflatoxin levels were high, moisture? How do you handle that?
Okay. Complaints will always be there, even with very strong companies that have good systems of assuring quality. Complaints will always be there, but the way we handle them is that we are a link. Agrinet is a link. In simple language, you call them a broker of information, a broker of technology, a broker of markets. So as a broker, there are certain things or responsibility to take on, and other responsibilities that we cannot take on. We have a disclaimer. So once we get a complaint, okay, for example, somebody will say, I sold I sold or a company would want to buy grain or sorghum, and then the farmers deliver to the company. Usually the farmers through their agents. There's another level of actor there who we call an agent. An agent would be like a super, the lead of the leader of the market of the committee, the marketing committee of the farmer field school. So that will take responsibility for the quality and is paid a commission for after delivery and assuring that the quality has been achieved. So where there is issues of quality and complaints, the first person to deal with or to handle that we address the issue is that agent. And if the issue is serious, he is not paid, he loses his commission. And if there is a rejection of the product, then usually there are two scenarios. Either the buyer will just take it up as is and suffer with the complaint, or it will be rejected at the gate of the buyer, and the farmers will take back to address that complaint. Okay, and we introduce another scenario where we aggregate, where the farmers said, "I've delivered," and then I reached the buyer, and the buyer refused my product. So the farmers were also fearing to take responsibility to deliver. The buyers were fearing to also to go and pick up from the farmers because they were not sure. So we came in as a broker at another level to take responsibility where we pay off the farmer and we deal with the buyer. So in that scenario, we'll be able to deal with the complaint and address the complaint. Either we lose the quality or we go back and address that quality issue that the buyer has put forward. So it's been a mix of different ways, but there is a risk in the business. There's a risk on the side of the buyer and the side of the seller, like any other brokerage business.
Well, thank you so much. In the chat box, 2 questions. At what level of production do you notify the farmers on the market price for their products? That is one. And secondly, do you have some kind of market information management systems in place? Kindly address that.
Yeah, we address the issue of price at the production level, at the pre-planting level. So we have seasonal planning meetings with those field schools or network level, because the schools are very many, but we hold at a network level. So a network would have maybe 20, 30 groups, and there we communicate our terms and conditions. So we'll tell them we'll want maybe maize, a certain quantity expected from their group with a minimum price. We call it a minimum price because that's the minimum price we can pay, even if the prices went lower than that. We won't go below that price to the farmers. So the farmers are able to do their calculations and know that they can break even with that price and therefore engage. So that's the level at pre-production. That's when you have a contract. That's when you have a guarantee or assurance. And then you also, at that level, you're able to recruit the farmers who are going to be producing. They will tell you, in this network, we have 10 groups that are ready to engage. In each group, we have X number of people, farmers that are willing to produce. We make a projection of how much each will produce, and then be sure that at the end of the season, we're expecting a certain tonnage from this network collected at a certain store and with the quality assurance measures in place and the committee to deal with that quality issue. You know? So that's how we deal with the pricey issue. I can't remember what the other part B of the question is.
To be of the question is that do you have some kind of market information management systems in place?
Yes, Agrinet has a market information management system. I think in my first slide that you prepared with me had the service. Yes, we do. We have a mobile phone-based market information system where one, we have a kind of push information. You subscribe and we send information to you. So we have agents in different markets and also farmer groups in different locations that give us that intelligence. They will tell us today maize is selling for this price in Soroti, in Shere, in Busia, and so on. So every morning we get that information by 11 o'clock. So that information is analyzed, okay? And if there are errors and whatever is checked by our market information manager, and then it is coded and then pushed back to the subscribers. So everybody will want different information on different products. So that is the information we share. And then we have introduced also another service where you send a request for information. For example, we want to sell or buy a product. So we'll send to a certain code, and then that information is received in our system and will give you an auto response. For example, you say, I want to buy, or you say buy maize and put a price that you want to buy. So that message will be sent into our system, and then it will be auto-matched with a seller who wants to sell the same or near to that quantity and near to that price of the commodity that you are interested in. So it's kind of automated matching, auto-matching of the buyer and seller. And where there are mismatches, then we do it manually. So you look at the buyer who is nearest the seller's price and quantity and terms, and then you send a feedback to that, but offline. So that's the system we have.
Two more questions. In relation to post-harvest handling, what are the challenges? Then how do they reduce quality? And how do you manage this? And then the second question, known for exploitative tendencies, what is your experience in Uganda? Do you think farmers are able to get value for their money? Please proceed.
Okay. The post-harvest handling challenges are still many. Of course, this affects quality. I think we very well know that it's a lot of our maize that is coming to Kenya and the other regions has still a high level of aflatoxin. I think that has to do with the whole process, production process, and the technology we are using to handle. So investing in technology for improving quality is still a key challenge. And at our level, I think what we have done is that we don't live as an uninterested party in the quality. We cannot leave it to the farmers alone to invest in quality improvement in post-harvest handling. As a business, as a company, we've got to go an extra mile and invest in technologies for threshing, for drying, for cleaning. Otherwise, if we left it to the farmers alone, probably we may need to go far, because if I cannot buy that poor quality, there is another buyer interested to buy it at that quality, and we find a market for it. So it's been a challenge. As a buyer, as a processor, I'm interested in a certain quality. And if I can't invest in it, then I'm leaving it to the farmer, and the farmer will do whatever they can do. Probably they don't even have enough resources to invest in it. So we've seen various companies, some of the big companies are doing the same. They invest in a post-harvest handling quality assurance measures at the farmer level. Originally, we thought if we had a cleaning facility at our factory and storage, that would be all. But if you are receiving already poor quality grain, it will be difficult for you to change it to quality grain when it's already spoiled, when it already has aflatoxins, wet, and so on. So you stepping back to support the quality assurance at the farmer level, I think makes sense for both us and for the farmer, because they will achieve the quality that you want. You'll be able to also to pay higher price and reduce your cost as a processor to improve quality at your factory. On the issue of the exploitative tendencies by middlemen, by buyers, and also whether farmers are getting value for money, I think we know that markets are dynamic. They are dynamic. Certain things are out of the control of you, the producer, of even your buyer. We are competing not with ourselves, but even with our neighbors. We are within on farm, within the country, within the region, and the world. So I have reservations for the issue of exploitation. Exploitation comes when you don't have information and you don't have options. But you might have information and options, but you can also not achieve them or be able to access those markets or opportunities for certain limitations. So as a company, what we've tried to do is to reduce that information gap that many buyers or middlemen use to exploit, because farmers don't know what the price is in Kampala or Busia or in a different market. So we reduce that knowledge gap and make it a little more transparent. But whether the farmer can move his crop from a certain village X to Busia market or to Kampala market, that's a different level of challenge. So yes, exploitation is still there. We've done what we could do to reduce that exploitation through the information, bridging the information gap, but there's still a lot to do. Many farmers cannot, one, achieve or move their products to those markets. Two, they cannot achieve the quality that those markets need, or even the quantity and terms that those markets are. So there's still room and a lot of issues to be done around helping farmers access those markets.
Well, thank you so much for those responses, Mr. Nyende. We have a colleague from Ethiopia called Mangesha Aresawum. He's also been having this big project of post-harvest handling. Let's give him some 2 or 3 minutes just to tell us the context in Ethiopia, and then we can proceed. I still have one more question for you, Mr. Nyende. So, okay. Mr. Mengesha, if you can unmute yourself, please talk to us.
Okay.
Maybe you could start by introducing yourself.
My name is Arasaum from Ethiopia. I work as a master trainer and also agribusiness and farmer field school officer. So, in fact, one of the areas that we have been working on a project called Reducing Food Losses Through Improved Post-Harvest Management. Well, the project is supported by the SDC. It is implemented by FAO and also with the other partners. So with this project, in fact, the main focus of the area of the project is more of on policy area and also improving the knowledge and the skills of the extension workers and also creating awareness on post-harvest management. So I'm not going to go into detail, but the project is being implemented in major target regions of the country. The approach that we have been used to promote post-harvest management is promoting the technologies, that is by creating learning platforms through farmer field school, disseminating also the post-harvest management through mass media, and also hands-on experience on demonstration technologies. These are some of the means for promoting the technologies. In addition, we have got also a capacity development on improved post-harvest management, and we have got also developing the supply chain and the market linkage, and we have got also effective policy and institutional structure for promoting post-harvest management. The most interesting area of, in fact, the project is the involvement of the artisans. We have tried to involve the youth artisans in fabrication of metal silo. I don't know how many of you maybe do you know metal silo. It's the grain storage. So with the artisans, we
Sorry, our colleague Mengesha seems to have also dropped off. I think is it because of, oh, here there is Mengesha. Yeah, you back? Unmute yourself, Mengesha. Wow, we've lost him. Mr. Nyende, any experience on this metallic grain silos? Do you train artisans to fabricate them, or you have better technology?
Hello, Eric.
Yes. Proceed, please. Mengesha, you can proceed.
Okay, the sorry is unstable. Can you hear me? Edwin, hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Just proceed.
Oh no, okay. So the storage, the metal silo, as I mentioned, we have trained youth artisans. In fact, they are selected from the rural areas because the purpose of selecting those artisans is to access and also to make available the technology in the vicinity of the farmers. So once they get the training, the youth artisans, then from the project side, we have tried to support them a small amount of seed money for starting the fabrication of the metal silo. Then after they fabricate the metal silo, it is the responsibility of the respective district office of agriculture to provide a quality assurance. So that is in fact the responsibility of the government. And also it is the responsibility of the government and the youth artisans to promote the technologies. And then through the artisans and the respective district offices, the technologies, they are going to be distributed to different areas. So if we have tried to look at the demand of the technology, it's really increasing. Now the farmers, they have started to purchase the technology by their own. So there are quite a number of success stories from this experience. I'm not going to go to detail, but the other area of focus, we have tried also to conduct a post-harvest loss assessment on major crops. In fact, we have tried to make use of the FAO methodology. So that's really one of the information. This is really one of the challenge in post-harvest management. Unless you don't have, information, what's really the loss, to what extent, where are the critical loss points, it's really very difficult also to take, any measures with regard to the post-harvest management. So the data or the information is really very critical if you are planning, to address the issue of, post-harvest management. So maybe if we have time in the future, I'm really very happy, to share this experience, what we have learned from this experience, and what are really the areas that maybe we can scale up or scale out, from this experience.
Yeah. Actually, Edwin, we should book a resume for next week. We can also bring on board Jerry, we can share a little experience on that. Then we bring back Paul to be like a respondent. That would be wonderful. Resume, you are booked for next week. Thank you. If you have time.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, I have time.
Very good.
So, our colleagues, thank you so much, Mr. Mengesha. And we normally end around 11:15, 11:20 there. So just bear with us. We started a little bit late. Just one question I wanted to ask Mr. Nyende, based on his experience. There seems to be a major push by a lot of investors or NGOs who want us to start immediately with farm business schools. What is the danger in this? Should we follow the classical procedure of FFS first, then FBS, or should we just go ahead and venture into uncharted territory of farmer business schools? Your response, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Edwin, I can see he's not responding, but just
yes,
something just worth to mention on that aspect that you have mentioned before we get a response, if it's not forthcoming.
Yes, Edwin, do you hear me?
Yeah, but let Mr. Mutungi talk first, and then we'll give you that chance.
Okay.
Okay, Edwin, I just
proceed,
wanted to say
Dr.
thank you
Mutungi.
very much for bringing this issue up about the farmer business schools. And this is something that we have been thinking about, and especially when you said, you know, sometimes it can get confusing on what comes first. And basically, I think what we have tried to do in the recent days is when you look at the farmer field school methodology in itself, it tends to have its main focus on production. That's where you'll find it's underpinned. And that is where you find, because it is mainly a production focused process, sometimes the marketing aspect of it and the business aspects of the farmer field schools tend to become very, very weak. Now, what is happening is that we are also trying to put quite a lot of attention on the marketing aspect and the business aspect. And that is why in recent days, what is to be done is that whilst you are doing the groundworking, it is very, very much important to talk about the marketing aspect, because the marketing aspect of farmer field school will also bring in the business aspects of it. So what I can say is that it's not what comes before the other, but it's rather mainstreaming some of these things into the whole process of a farmer field school season-long learning to make it come out even better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's some good words of wisdom from Dr. Mutungi. So maybe your response, Mr. Nyende. Just unmute yourself first.
Yes, I absolutely agree with Dr. Mutungi. And I think this is like a chicken and the egg, what comes first and what comes last. At the end of the day, to me, on the business side, we are after putting money in the hands of the farmers. I think that's the end, where the whole story will end, where the whole impact we need to see. At the end of the day, whatever we do, at whatever stage, at whatever process we start, there must be money realized in the hands of the farmer. You can narrow the process, shorten the process. If you can achieve the result, you can go all the mile, all the way from group formation to technology learning, to experimentation, to, you know, all you can start at some point. So all is, at the end of the day, is that a farmer must have money in his hand. So we know that the process of FFS needs patience. It's a process in itself. Okay, and all steps, every step is important. But I think where I kind of have a challenge or differ is that do we have to go all the way to start FFS, or we can start with groups that are already established, that already have some organizational arrangement and impart farm business schools concepts to these groups. Personally, I would think that sometimes we've got to take the shorter route if it can achieve us the results we need. One specific examples I have in Uganda is that not all the groups that we are working with started as farmer feed schools. Not all because I have a mix of cooperatives, I have a mix of some of the groups that were started under NADS program, not necessarily they never went through a field school approach, but we have engaged them as farm business schools, and we have made some good progress. The issue was that these groups were already cohesive, they had a purpose, they wanted to achieve certain goals. So we engaged those groups to figure out how do we learn about certain technologies that bring us money, how do we learn, engage the groups or the networks at that level to do business with a company. Going all the way through the learning process, you have people falling off. Some groups falling up, they think you're taking too long. You are main NGO, you are just training only, you are not after business. So we were pushed kind of to rush certain processes, but we also had to put conditions and offers on table that if you meet these kind of standards, then we're able to do business with you as a farm business school. So if they're able to meet a certain volume, they're able to meet a certain minimum number of producers, they're able to give us a certain quantity and quality for a given price, then we said, okay, let's start engaging like that. So I think must be a two-way. Field schools have to graduate into farm business schools, okay? But also you can start business schools on already mature groups or networks that are able to take forward the concept of the business school.
Time is far much spent, and I'm seeing Jane Kadure with your hand raised. Make sure it is 1 minute. Jane Kadure.
Okay. Thank you, Edwin, and thank you for your valuable contribution on the topic. In fact, this is thing that is what we are doing in FFS, because with FFS, the product is not going to
Wow.
it will discourage the farm. I concur with 1% that it FFS or the business FFS first. What drives is where is the money coming from? And the question is that we look at the most of FFS, the effort on building the production part and left the buyers out. The farmers are not the buyers. We really need to open up this approach such that in this FFS, we really want to hear more from the buyer. We go to produce for the buyer. And with that, you find the grow because they are producing for la purpose. They are adopting a technology for the buyer a product which looks like this. That's what I can say. I've a lot of experience working with the farmers on mango value chains and so many things that we tested to see how we and so many models that we tested, but because of them I may not be able to share. Maybe one day I'll be able to share with the group so that we can be able to run which aspect we try in the aspect of promoting the farmers talk every day. We couldn't go far. We moved into now bringing all the actors into the table, because you find the actors, they are feeling this farm. You have educated the farmers so much, but the buyer is looking from a distance and say, this is a very learned farmer, but where is he going to produce? For now, I leave it there. Next time, maybe I'll get a chance to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Point taken. I think members have learned a lot from today's webinar. Many thanks to Mr. Paul Nyende for your valuable contribution. Kindly allow us to share your presentation to our members and also upload it on our website so that people can learn more from you and they can also get in touch with you more. Thank you for JP for being a standby presenter and a wonderful complementary business partner to Mr. Paul Nyende. Thank you, Aresa Wum, for the wonderful contribution from Ethiopia. We look forward to your presentation probably next week, and many others who've contributed. I wish I could name all of you. And thank you also for the participants, a few that came in today. Madam Pauline, you are welcome. Make this your home. Michael Akwenyu, you'll also be making a presentation very soon about your programs in the North. So without much further ado, I relay it back to Mr. Max Olupot to finally conclude the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edwin, and thanks very, very much to Paul for being a champion of the field schools. It's been a long way, right from that time of James and others, but also taking the field schools to a next stage. Of course, we've been always criticized as a field school fraternity that we focus on production, but it's also good to see a colleague that has taken the field schools to the next level in terms of having money in the pockets of the farmers. And we do appreciate. Please continue sharing this experience when we call upon you, and also it's good you keep in touch with the field school hub, because your roots are in the field school. It's nice to be together again. To all the teams that participated, Megesha, we are very happy that you have accepted to share your experience on post-harvest management from FAO side, but also from the development point of view. We look forward to interacting with you next week. To everybody, thank you for the participation. Let's continue the networking. I see somebody who has signed, like the Honorable Victoria Sekteleko. I hope she's the one, or somebody is using her phone. Honorable Sekteleko, he was my minister when I was at a secondary school, but also when I started Arapaya Agricultural College, and she's been a champion of agribusiness. I think Paul knows her.
Yes,
If it is Honorable Sekteleko, I cannot say I close this meeting. I'll give her 1 minute to greet you and say a word of encouragement in terms of agribusiness and business in agriculture. Honorable, please, even if somebody is using your computer, I will give you a chance, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Olupot. I'm on the road. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes, Honorable.
And thank you for the good work, especially at this time when everybody needs extension services. As I've been going around the country judging the agriculture competitions for the best farmer of Uganda, one thing I've realized is there is great need of extension services. And two, it would be good for farmers, especially those who are doing the same thing, to come together and share knowledge. So thank you for promoting the field schools. Secondly, I also want to thank the gentleman who has taken it to put in money in the farmers' pockets, because really farmers are not just charity workers. We also love and like and need money. So thank you very much. All the best. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, ma'am. For the team, maybe from other countries, Honorable Sekteleko was a Minister of Agriculture in Uganda. She's a real agriculturalist. She also worked with FAO in other regions, and now she's a person who is promoting a lot of agribusiness in Uganda, but mentoring a lot of most of us and also the farmers. So we are very, very grateful that you were able to join us, and we look forward one day to call upon you to make a quick presentation on the issues you are working on, but also to give us a real motivation in moving forward with the field schools and agribusiness. Yes.
Anytime.
Thank you, ma'am. So having heard that, I also want to again appreciate everybody, the teams from FAO, Paul and others, and the team from the East Africa Field School. You are a great team. And all our participants, I see Yap from Rome, headquarters, he has joined, and we are now closing this meeting. Yap, do you have one word only to say to this group as we wind up Just one word to say hi, then we go to the next meeting. Yeah.
Yes, hi. No, it's good to see that this the field school is really promoted to a big group of people, and it is really alive and kicking after 30 years promoting field schools in the world, and especially in East Africa. It is really, as I always say, 30 years old, young. It's not old. We are 30 years young and alive and kicking. So it is very good to see these initiatives going on and on and on. With the field schools, we are helping the farmers, and that is what we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. And again, thank you, Paul. Please, when you're in Kampala, get time to come to the East African Field School Hub to have a chat, so that we harvest a lot of your experience in taking field schools to a greater level. And to everybody, thank you so much. Again, I want to thank very dearly Honorable Dr. Sekteleko Victoria for joining us, and everybody from the headquarters and FAO. Bye for now. For the master trainers, as everyone signs off, you will remain on board for 10 minutes. Then Edwin and myself and others will move to the next meeting with YAP. So we therefore now say bye to the rest of the team. For the field school master trainers and the researchers, research assistants, you can stay back. Thank you and bye-bye. Bye. Yeah.
Bye. But for those who can put their camera on, just put it on for our last.
We would have actually got the photo from everybody. Yeah, the photo. We forgot the photo.
She was moving. She was on the road.
Photo time. Sharon, photo. Is everybody there?
Yeah, it's the last level now. I'm waiting for Freddy Thomas.
I'm not seeing Araz
and Ibenu Sharon.
I'm not seeing Araz. Hey, no, he's there. You tell him to put on his camera on.
I see the wise man from the east.
Computer.
No, he's there. He's there. So, Mr. Mengesha, you owe us a presentation next week.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I've managed to take it apart from Sharon and the Huawei. All the others have captured it very well.
Very good. Salam.
Thank you. So, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. John P, lunch on me.
The man, the bushy man, you know, now you fight to find him. I've taken a lot of energy to find JP. So I think briefly, we have 2 agenda items in the meeting that we want to have. One is to basically get a quick update from the master trainer.